So you guys had your, you got the VR headsets.
Yeah.
You had, your dad was able to
and we
buy
got
some
prayer
for the...
team Tuesdays and Thursdays. That turned into an evangelistic opportunity because we'd go world hopping afterwards. People would want prayer.
What's world hopping? You're using big terms here.
So world hopping is on the social VR platforms. A lot of people have uploaded their own worlds, their own 3D models you can explore and interact with. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people, when they're hanging out and talking, like going to a different world to talk in. I want to go to an aquatic world and hang out with fish. I want to go to, I want to go to a Star Wars
Jesus
world
fish.
because, yeah, exactly, because there's no copyright issues at the moment in virtual reality. So it's a lot of fun times.
So you basically showed me one of the worlds you created. It looks like a church building. You walk in the door.
And that's where we met for prayer meetings.
And so you met in this little gathering room for prayer with the other people that were part of that group.
After evangelizing.
And then you'd hang out.
Yep. Evangelizing, hanging out and stuff. We got to pray for a lot of people. Eventually, I got noticed that I had built a church campus by Cornerstone and helped build their campus.
Okay.
And that really opened up a lot of questions of like, okay, can we build the Stations of the Cross? Which is so that people can think about like what Jesus went through going to the cross.
Cool.
Then eventually I got invited to the welcome team of VR MMO Church, and then did that for a bit.
I put on my headset. I go into wherever the world is. What was it called?
The Lakeland VR campus?
Yeah, that's in, what's the social?
Altspace VR.
Altspace VR, okay. So there's different social VR networks. So I put this thing on, I'm going into that world that you guys have created, which is awesome, by the way. It's really cool. Like you can look over it. He showed me that there's like a nature, like a waterfall that you can, and then there's walk us through what happens during a church service. Like, are you in there talking, or is the service streamed from, do I call it the real world, into the virtual world?
I call it the physical world, but
physical, okay, yeah, that's what's a normal a person who just comes in and goes to a service? What's that look like?
Yeah, so for us at Lakeland, we stream our services in from our main campus. So for anybody listening that is used to like video venue multi-site, that's pretty much what our VR campus is. We're video venue multi-site, and then I'm there for the soul care, helping people take next steps and all that kind of good stuff. So, which wasn't always the case, but we can talk about that later if you want. Okay. But so when you come in, you spawn in at the entrance, the outdoor entrance to our building, and we strategically, Pastor Goose, who's my co-host with the Metaverse Church podcast, he's actually the one who built the world for us, and the idea and the heartbeat behind even what was built was we wanted to take elements of what you would recognize in real life with Lakeland. So the idea was if anybody from our VR campus ever came to Lake Geneva, they would already in some way feel familiar with the building, because we said, this is what we look like. Here are the elements that we would like to see. Everything else, it's VR. So get creative. So as you guys saw, when you show up, you've got our building that looks somewhat like our building in real life. We have a video screen right out front, so you don't ever really have to enter into the building if you don't want to. But once you enter in, there's some great advertisement, shows what my picture as in the avatar form to say, hey, if you want to connect with the pastor, which is me, here's how you do it. If you want to partner with us financially, you can do that. And then, of course, join our Discord. You walk past that wall and you walk right into the auditorium, which is a big, massive screen for to be able to watch a service. Outside of that auditorium, there's another hallway that leads you to the back side, which then leads you to downtown Lake Geneva. I don't know what, so Lake Geneva is not massive in any sense of the word, but we have a city with skyscrapers and all that kind of stuff, and really that was, hey, let's just let's create an area where we can do small groups. You know, in the same way that we ask for small groups to get out into the community, let's be out in the community. So we've got a gym, we've got a bar, we've got a coffee shop, we've got a movie theater, we got a central park. And so that's where when we do events throughout the week, more small group based, we do it in that area. Nice. And then my senior pastor asked that one of those areas, in addition to the environment, would be our waterfall scene. And the idea was, if we do a worship night, or if we were just wanting to play like worship music in general for people to come in and see, there was a spot that was just really designed for being out there, get into the environment, be in the presence of the Lord, and worship within that environment.
And you've got that big screen out there too, for lack of a better word. It's got that huge, massive screen that kind of is within this whole naturescape scene.
Yep.
That beams the physical world, I use your word, into that virtual reality space that you've created.
Yeah, and the heartbeat behind that even was each of those screens that we have anywhere in the world, they project and you can hear clearly the message or the music that's going on. So you don't have to be in the auditorium of our VR world in order to get the message in. You can, as our VR friend was saying earlier, people world hop. They love to be in those spaces in order to go explore. So we were like, okay, let's give the church feel. Let's give creative element to it. Let's allow people to do what it is that they naturally do in these environments, all while still being able to hear the message that's going on, and play to all of those strengths. So that's what people see currently when you hop into AltSpace VR and you check out Lakeland VR.
So when I was doing a little research on this, ever since we got together and we were talking about this, you know, this isn't just like some listeners are listening in right now and they're thinking, yeah, that's kind of a niche, like small thing. I actually read in 2022, 171 million people are in virtual reality. That's a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah.
So for us to look at this and say, that's not really a thing, and you know, we kind of make fun of it, like you did at the beginning, like that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. You know, it's funny. I was talking to my wife.
Hey,
go ahead.
Crow tastes good, just so you know.
Yeah, you've seen the difference.